Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 14, Education, Pluralism and Multiculturalism. Our topic is why is multicultural education essential? There are several reasons why multicultural education is a necessity in the contemporary globalized world. Educationists like Bennett are of the view that the multicultural education is essential for academic excellence and equity, and for the existence of a multi-ethnic society, the existence of an interdependent world, and for the promotion of democratic values in the contemporary world. Let us elaborate some of arguments. The principle of equity in education endeavors to ensure equal educational opportunities for the entire student community to express the fullest potential. Students can achieve excellence in an educational system which is impartial in nature. The ideal of achieving educational excellence involves concerns about ethnic groups that have been consistently cut off from the equal access to the good education. This approach recognizes that the potential for excellence is available across ethnic groups, and it builds knowledge about various ethnic groups and integrates them into the curriculum. Plural societies have distinctive complexities in terms of varied cultural practices, which are reflected in the pattern of socialization, food habits, behavior patterns, dress, adherence to particular values, norms, etc. Multicultural education is very sensitive to these needs and is equipped accordingly by recognizing these polarities. Multicultural education strikes a balance between cultural assimilation and cultural separatism or segregation. Human societies have been facing some common concerns like destruction of the ozone layer, environmental pollution, poverty, overpopulation, nuclear arms, famine, and hunger, AIDS, etc. The globalization process has accentuated these concerns. A cross-cultural understanding is essential for finding solutions to these problems. Multicultural education provides a platform for the articulation of common concerns. A nation's commitment to the values of equity and democracy is widely reflected in its commitment to human rights, social justice, and respect for alternative life choices. Multicultural education provides the space and platform to inculcate these values and helps to overcome the barriers in achieving the democratic values of equity. Hence, the goals of multicultural education according to Golnisch and Chin are to promote the strength and value of cultural diversity, to promote human rights and respect for those who are different from others, to acquire knowledge of the historical and social realities of the society in order to understand racism, sexism, poverty, etc., to support alternative life choices for people, to promote social justice and equality for all people, and to promote equity in the distribution of power and income among groups. Now let us move to the next point, approaches to multiculturalism. This is an age of multiculturalism. Here culture pluralism is a reality now. Several approaches have emerged over the years to address this issue. In this section, we shall be highlighting a few of them. The first is assimilation. Cultural assimilation is an important process of integration of the subcultures in the cultural mosaic of the multicultural society. In a multicultural society, according to Gordon, the process of assimilation would go through the stages whereby the new cultural group, migrant cultural group, would change its cultural patterns to those of the dominant group, develop large-scale primary groups relationship with the dominant group, intermarry fully with the dominant groups, lose its sense of peoplehood as separate from the dominant group, encounter no discrimination, encounter no prejudices attitudes, and not raise any issues that would involve values and power conflict with the dominant group. Herein he also talks of acculturation, that is cultural assimilation, in which the dominated group have adopted the cultural pattern of the dominant group. In the American context, the following two perspectives of assimilation are frequently suggested: Anglo conformity and the melting pot. The Anglo conformity theory demanded the complete renunciation of immigrants' ancestral culture in favor of the behavior and values of the Anglo-Saxon core group. In melting pot a perspective, ethnic minorities are expected to give up their traditional and to blend in or be absorbed by the host society or dominant culture. Now the next point is cultural pluralism. Cultural pluralism is also a distinctive perspective designed in the context of America. According to Gordon, cultural pluralism often calls for the maintenance of enough sub-societal separation to guarantee the continuance of the ethnic cultural tradition and the existence of the group, without at the same time interfering with the carrying out of standard responsibilities to the general American civil life. However, disagreement remains on this issue as to whether an individual should be allowed to choose freely whether to remain within the confines of his birthright community, enclave. Now the next point is ideology of voluntary cultural choices. Many scholars have pointed out that the cultural pluralism has seen an individual in terms of a parochial identity related to the ethnicity, etc., rather than an autonomous identity. Here, Newman emphasized the need to create a social environment in which groups and individuals may choose voluntarily the identity they wish to play out. An individual choice and mobility across cultural groups increases, the social and cultural barriers are likely to decrease. He has the belief that increasingly we will move towards an open society in which cultural background may influence who an individual is, but become irrelevant in public interaction. Here we wind up this conversation, and thank you so much for choosing this podcast.